Welcome to Wondrous Ascension Ride 2022, the light at the end of the tunnel virtual retreat. I really hope you're all doing great. My name is Sandra Thomas from Your Glorious Ascension Journey Enlightened Services, your host in this virtual retreat. And I am honored to be surrounded by this group of fabulous, heart-centered way showers, authors, channelers, mediums, astrologers, and intuitives in this super wondrous online event container. We're all here, committed here to helping you to find the most powerful tools, those tips, guidance, wisdom, and inspiration to assist you to ride this wondrous and yet sometimes challenging and stressful wave of ascension in this enlightening environment. So join us, please. Join us every day in this window of opportunity from May 22nd through May 31st and get all of the benefit from these awesome conversations. And now, let's dive in. Today's special guest is bringing all of her joy and life experience to share with us and to inspire us. She's a corporate trainer, a keynote speaker, and the author of 5 books. Going through life as a little person standing 3 feet 8 inches, she has had the unique opportunity to develop many skills in the process of overcoming countless life, relationship, and business challenges and sustaining an open and happy heart. She's going to tell us everything about that in a minute. Weaving together the wisdom from the trenches life experiences and background in psychotherapy, she has supported businesses such as Chase Bank, Texaco, FEMA, and many others in triumphing over their challenges and building cultures of greater resiliency, inclusion, and stress management. And recently, she has published a phone app called Tap for Joy that helps people reduce stress and increase happiness. What can be more timely than that? She celebrates her daily life in Ojai, California, near Santa Barbara. I am super delighted to bring to you Peggy O'Neill. Welcome, Peggy. Thank you so much for being here with us today. How are you doing?
Well, I am honored and happy to be here with you and your peeps. We're going to have an awesome time.
Thank you so much. So, you know, Peggy, before we begin plunging into the topic, into the area of expertise of all of our guests, we like to know a little bit about them, a little bit about their background, how they started, what brought them to the place they're at now in success and joy in their lives. Can you tell us a bit about that, your beginnings in your journey?
So is the beginning of my my career or the beginning of my sort of
what brought you
life?
Here? What were your breakthroughs in your life experience?
That's such a big question. So I think that because this is about my wondrous ascension, I'm going to talk about that. I had a very miraculous experience when I was 17. And I had an altered consciousness experience where I experienced that everything was made out of the same substance, and that unity, that consciousness was the prominent experience of my awareness at that time. I could see the bed and the TV and my friends and my legs and all that. But what was more dominant and more real was the fact that it was all made of a substance of unity. And in that experience, I was given the information that this was the normal, natural consciousness of a fully developed human being, and that if I applied myself well, I could achieve that consciousness as a permanent reality in this lifetime. And so that set me on that turned on the motor of my enlightenment drive. And it has been the guiding force for me at every crossroads that I've come to in my life, every big decision that I've made. And as I've gotten older, I have attuned to that desire to have that full unfoldment more and more. I think when I was younger, I was like, well, I want to have the partner and I want to have the career and I want to have stuff on the outside and that everybody tells me is going to be happy. And of course, what we find out is that you can get all those things and still not be happy. So, right? So so then I ended up at the Maharishi International University. I started to meditate because of that experience. I saw a picture of Maharishi on a bulletin board at my college, and I started the meditation. And the next year I transferred to Maharishi International University in Fairfield, Iowa. And my college education was based in the understanding that consciousness is what makes up everything, and that we all, that consciousness is a field of all possibilities, and that if we can tap into that consciousness, our life can become a field of all possibilities. So it was a very different education than if I had only been studying. I was studying math and science and art, but if I had only been studying those things, it would have been very different. And of course, we were meditating a lot, and we were not doing any drugs or alcohol, and everybody was high as a kite and laughing a lot. And it was a wonderful, wonderful life experience. And from there, I went on and did a couple of things. Let's see, how much do I want to tell my life story? I went to photography school. This is a very significant thing, and this was one of the really big challenges of my life. So I went to college once, and then I had a restaurant for 2 years, and I decided what I really wanted to do was to be a photographer, because I was really good at it. And I'd been doing it since I was 16. I had a dark room in high school and yada, yada. Anyway, I went all the way through the college, and in the college, the equipment of the photographer, I wasn't using a little 35 millimeter camera. Of course, this is back in the early 80s. Of course, it's a film camera because it was back in the early 80s. I had a lot of challenges because we were using 4x5 cameras, which is, with the bellows and the thing that goes over your head and the tripod that weighs 25 pounds. And in the studio, and the lights and the stands are bigger and heavier than my entire body. And 6-foot guys had a hard time. And so it was super, super, super hard. And I wanted to drop out at every semester. My friends kept telling me, come on, this is like the Harvard of art schools. It was Art Center College of Design. If you get a degree from here, you're in like Flynn. And so I kept pushing myself, and I get a month from my graduation. The dean, a new dean that had come to the school in my 7th semester of 8 semesters, pulled me in his office, and he said, congratulations, etc. And then he said, I want you to know that when you go out in the real world, that nobody's going to hire you because you're a little person.
Oh.
Yeah. So this was, a really quintessential moment in my life, because, we've all met small-minded people before, and we often internalize what they say to us. And that's what I did. I started telling myself, I'll never get hired. So it wasn't really him that was the biggest problem. It's what I started to do to myself, which is to say, I'll never get hired. Every time I wanted to go show my portfolio or go to an ad agency and apply for a job, any of that, the voice would be in my head. I basically crashed and burned. I moved to Hawaii. I had several failed relationships there, and and I was coming into my mid-30s at the time when I became suicidal.
Oh.
Yeah, so the tables really turned for me at that time. And I'd wake up in the morning, and, papayas were growing on my trees. I had friends living on the property with me. The birds would be singing, and I would be weeping in tears that I couldn't face another day of pain, because I felt so separate from everything. And I was having the exact opposite experience of what I experienced, that vision and that insight that I had when I was 17. So I, in today's language, we would say I was so far from myself. I had lost connection with myself. And so I prayed, and I found out about a spiritual work school called the Diamond Approach. And I moved to Boulder, Colorado shortly thereafter, and started, there were some steps of, figuring out if this was the right thing for me. But I moved to Boulder to join the Diamond Approach, or the Diamond Heart School. And in that school, I had some more amazing experiences. And I'll maybe go into more detail about those experiences with some other questions. But the foundation of what happened for me there was that it allowed me to reconnect, have experiences started arising inside of myself where I knew that what was real about me was not my personality, my ego, my story, my history, or any of my thoughts or emotions. What was truly real about me was consciousness, was this experience of unity, which actually in the diamond approach, we often experience presence showing up in different ways. Sometimes it's as love, sometimes it's as strength, sometimes it's as value. And I started to have these experiences, and I started, I was able to sort of break the trance that something was wrong with me. Now, that's another part that I didn't talk about, which was leading up to the thing when I was 17 years old, is that when I came into the world, and this was maybe the biggest challenge that I have had to deal with in my life. When I came into the world, my mother had already had one short stature child. I came into an average size family, parents and two sisters are average size. And the doctors told her that it would never happen again. When I came into the world, they knew, and both of my parents had, it was not glad tidings for them. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. And I, when the clay of my consciousness was very wet and malleable, it was a very deep print that I was not okay the way that I am. And it has been a lifelong journey for me to heal this limiting and incorrect belief. And having these essential experiences was one of the main, and there have been many things that have helped, but I'd say it was one of the main factors that allowed me to let that facade of something's wrong with me and I have to make up for myself by trying hard or being a nice person, and that all started to shed. So I know that was a long answer to the question, and there's a lot more details I can give, but I would say that is, one other thing I want to add is that not only did that situation happen with my parents, of course, when I went to school, because, I'm sitting down right now, but now I'm standing up. So, I am the height of a 5 or 6 year old child. And
you're adorable and so smart and so
thank you. And thank you. And when I was in school, of course, there was the teasing and the name calling and the bullying. And I didn't get, physically bullied, but I got a lot of emotional bullying. And then when I went to high school, my friends were all getting asked on dates by my guy friends, and I was not. And I had friends. I had lots of friends. That wasn't really, friends had never been a problem. Romantic situations have always been a problem. And I was married for 17 years, and I'm not anymore. I've been divorced for 10 years. So, but that stream of childhood and young adulthood, there was a plethora, maybe we could call it a torrential rain of messages that I got almost on a daily basis that something was wrong with me. So it was reinforced and reinforced and reinforced. So the trauma, trauma comes from severe impact, and it also comes from a repetitive hurtful experience. So I have had to do quite a bit of trauma therapy, and I am on the other side of it. I said to I went to a sound healing the other day, and I said to the lady, she said, "How you doing?" And I said, "Well, I've achieved the happiness project. So let's get on to the next thing." And I'm really, that is my happy dance right now, that the cycle of suffering has stopped for me. And for anyone who's having a difficult time, I know we're in incredibly difficult times right now. For anyone who's having a difficult time, I just, please hear when I say, you can make it. You can turn your life around. You can recognize the truth of who you are. You can recognize the truth of life itself. And that will transform you first, and it will transform your life.
Thank you. Thank you, Peggy. Your own personal life is a fountain of inspiration from beginning to end, and it goes on and on. By listening to your story, we are so uplifted and so empowered because you're showing us exactly what you just said. It's possible to overcome our personal challenges, whichever they are, because we have all kinds of challenges, personal and unique to ourselves. And isn't it interesting? You mentioned the topic of consciousness and feeling separated from source, from God, from yourself, right? From your own higher self, which is God within us.
Right,
So
exactly.
that is such a key point, because I was thinking as I was listening to your amazing story, isn't it the soul, your soul shows all of the things that you have gone through and have overcome, uh, just so you could know and show others exactly that it is possible, that the soul is the power within us that could give us the strength to overcome and go through the humanness or the human reality, which is not the truth of who you are, who we are, right? Can you tell us a little bit more how we can incorporate that consciousness as you so much spoke about a minute ago?
Yes, completely. And to add to that, it offers the only real and lasting solution for the troubles, because like Einstein said, you can't solve the problem on the level of the problem. So we go to another, what I call dimension, which is what you're talking about with the Ascension, right? That that our true nature, our pure consciousness, our higher self, the God within, they're all similar names for the same thing, right? That is the place where the true healing happens, because why we came to this planet is to recognize that that's who we are, and that there is no separation between us and that, because we are it, right? So 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 when we go in the direction of achieving or doing our destiny, and we all have an individual destiny that has to do with our gifts and our strengths and all that, but we also have a universal destiny that we all are here to awaken to our true nature, to the God within. And when that happens, life gets so much better, and we don't have the, I don't know, I mean, like, the reward is happiness. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. What can be better than being in joy and happiness? Everything comes from there. Abundance comes from joy. Creativity, right, comes from joy.
Yes.
All the good stuff.
Yes, and flow. I mean, ease in life. Ease is, there's so much, and love. I mean, that's another really big part of it, is that the heart stays open. You can feel your life, and you can feel love between you and others. You can feel you and the connection between you and nature. You can feel the connection between you and your deeper self. And life is then so different. It's so much more enjoyable. It's so much more worthwhile. It's so much more, there's so much gratitude and appreciation that spontaneously just flows out like a fountain when you're living in that place.
Peggy, and in your story, when was the moment, your breakthrough moment, when you really felt to the core of your heart that life was bursting open for you? With success, with joy? When was that moment? What happened before that breakthrough moment in your life? What caused that, in other words? Okay,
so I had an experience a couple of years ago where I'm still in the Diamond approach. I'm still in the Diamond Heart School, and I was at a retreat, and I was doing one of our main practices called inquiry. It's not the inquiry that Byron Katie does. It's just staying present with what's happening in the moment and talking about that. And as we report, we go inward, and as we report and talk about what's happening and our thoughts and our emotions and our sensations, that things come up, we move through them, we stay with them, and then as we digest the experience that we're having in the moment, the spiritual dimension opens to us. And so I was having one of those experiences, and all of a sudden, inside of myself, I could feel that I was on a carpet ride, like in the movie
Oh,
Like
Aladdin.
the movie Aladdin. And I was flying through the sky, and all of a sudden I started to have a life review. And I, like, if you died, right? But it wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't like a lot of slides, but it was like I could, on the carpet ride, I could see certain significant things in my recent life, in the last, this was maybe 4 years ago. So in the experiences that I had in the last 3 or 4 years before that, and it was showing me all of the blessings and all of the turnings that had happened for me that were bringing me to a place of freedom, empowerment, clarity, wisdom, joy, right? So like I was seeing all those things, and then all of a sudden, I'm gonna cry, that song from the movie, A Whole New World.
Oh, yes.
And it came up,
Absolutely.
I heard the music inside of me, and what my guidance said to me inside was, it's a whole new world of joy and freedom and love. That
Oh
is
my
what
God, you're gonna make me cry now. I'm getting very emotional as well. It's an amazing story.
And so I would say that was one of the quintessential moments when I felt like I was sort of over the hump of the suffering. There's been more since then that I've had to process and integrate. And actually in the last 4 years, I've done a lot of trauma therapy. So that would be one of them.
Oh my goodness, you have
it's a good one though, right?
Life experiences here. That's awesome. I'm so grateful that you're here telling us about that, because so many of us have things that are maybe feeling us not that happy and losing a little bit of hope, but that's not the case. That's the darkness before dawn, right? The sunshine rising to goodness, to good stuff in our lives.
Yeah, and I would say that was not the moment that the cycle of suffering stopped, because it didn't. There was 2 more years at least that I was still caught in an object relation that was making me suffer. But what it did do was show me that life was happening for me, that my life, everything bad or good, challenging or pleasant, was happening to build my capacity to sustain an awareness that I am connected to everything, that ultimately on the deepest level, I am the source of everything, and I am connected to that source.
That's a jewel in itself, Peggy. This concept, this truth is a jewel in itself. And I'm hoping that all of our viewers are listening carefully to every word that Peggy is sharing with us, because everything she's saying is pure wisdom, and it's pure life and human experience. God within a human experience, and it can be as diverse as everything and anything we see on the beautiful surface of Earth, right? All of life forms are God in a certain form, just to experience life, just that. And this is amazing because it's pure wisdom. Oh my God, it gives me goosebumps. It's so incredible, so beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's go on with some other questions. How, for example, I love this thought that you share with us, that you say that challenges are fertilizers for your growth, evolution, and awakening. And indeed, I love that thought. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
I can tell you, I could talk to the cows come home about that. So I don't know where that phrase came from, and I don't know how it just came up in my awareness. But anyway, I could talk about it for a long time. So I've had a lot of challenges, and I think now would be a good time to, I'm going to tell the story about one of my significant awakenings. And it was based on the challenge of not being seen as a valuable human being because of my physical difference. And even though I was always, somewhat attractive and smart and fun and funny and pleasant, like, I developed a pleasant personality to please my parents, of course, and make friends. So that was all helpful. But because I kept getting, like, I had some positive things happening. And also I was a competitive figure skater when I was a young person, when I was from like 3rd grade all the way through high school. So for many years, I had something that I was not doing, and we didn't have Paralympics back in the 70s. So late 60s and 70s. So I was competing against kids that were average size, but skating was, I could jump up at the, I could spin around. It wasn't it wasn't a fast thing, like things that are fast take longer legs and longer arms, swimming, running, right? Rowing, all that stuff. But anyway, so my biggest challenge in life has been to sustain a sense of I'm okay, because I get so many messages that something's wrong with me because of people's conditioning about people who look significantly different. And of course, that's, really some of it's their fault, but some of it's not their fault, because we're all wired to react to differences and go into a state of, this could be dangerous. It's just an unconscious wiring.
It's all based on fear, isn't it? It's based on fear. If it's different, I don't know it, I'm scared.
Right, exactly. And there's ways that people can work with themselves and educate themselves and build the skill of acceptance. That's true also, absolutely. Right? So getting back to my story, so I had the thing with my parents, I had the thing with the teasing, with the dating, and as I got older, I didn't, it became sort of a, when I got suicidal, it had been, that was in my early to mid 30s, so it had been since I, teenager, of trying to be special in the eyes of a person that was a male and a friend, close friend of mine. And it just kept not happening. And it just kept beating me down and down and down and down. And as I said, I enrolled in the Diamond Heart School, and then I went in an advanced course, or an advanced course called the Fischer Hoffman process. And in that process, we spent 6 months. Some people do it in a week thing now, but mine was 6 months long, not in residency, but 6 months to put my life, the negative experiences that I had with my parents, under a microscope from the conception to teenage. Mm-hmm. And so I was writing and processing about these experiences that I had, and it was bringing a lot of things out of my unconscious. And that's really what that is designed to do, is to help you bring those traumatic experiences to your consciousness, so that you can shine the light of awareness on them and they can begin to heal. So one night I went to the class, and I had they put some pillows and a bat in front of me, and everybody spread out in the room, and they said, okay, now's your time to express and release all of your honest and true emotions about all these things that happened to you. And I had already been through a process called domain shift, where we learned how to punch pillows. So I already was, I had some muscle for this, and I really got into it. And we had 3 rounds of 45 minutes of beating and yelling and making all the noise and moving our body in every which way we wanted to do. And I really went for it. And it was hilarious in a certain way, right? For a normal Friday night, and there I am, screaming my lungs out. But
it helps. It helps a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it feels kind of weird at the beginning, but once you get into it, you're can feel that something is being released from your body, and it's so freeing. So I really went for it. I'm punching the pillows, and after the 3rd round, they okay, lay back, lay on your pillows, close your eyes. So I'm closing my eyes, and all of a sudden, Sandra, I saw, and everyone else, I saw something inside my heart that changed my life.
What was it?
It was a diamond. Oh. And this diamond was not the kind of diamond that you wear on your finger. This diamond was bigger than my entire body. It went from above my head to below my toes.
God.
And light was streaming out in every direction. And it was just every facet was glistening. And in that moment, I knew that this was a representation of my true nature. And inside, my guidance was very like a loudspeaker. I am value. I am precious. I am beautiful. And I knew that was the truth. Not that something was wrong with me, but that was the truth. And that was the really moment when when the transformation for me really started to integrate that experience of oneness. Like this was like, it started to allow my ego structure to disintegrate, and for me to be able to see that there is a deeper, there's a deeper spiritual nature deep inside of me. And I knew also that the more that I can stay in touch with that deeper nature, the more ease, joy, love, all the things we talked about, happiness, and the more I'll be feeling connected to the source of all of life.
Absolutely.
And that was the time, that was the moment when I knew that all of this personality and these beliefs about myself were no longer true.
Absolutely. So it reminds me of two things. First off, it's like a layer of the onion layers, right?
Yes, yes.
You know, pushing and, you know, punching that pillow, and more layers of darkness and of anger were just coming, peeling off until you saw the core. And we mentioned that all of your story is a jewel. Look at that. So there is a connection of the goodness of spirit. And the other thing that I was just thinking is that the biggest and most powerful angels that come to earth come sometimes in disguise, in very curious and unknown disguise, to show us in human form that God is there showing us and teaching us a lesson. And your whole life is a lesson for humanity, Peggy. I see now so clearly. And you had to go through your own story to come to terms with your own true value, for then teach others to do the same, because this is what you're doing now, right?
Yes. Well, that's my mission in life, to awaken and help others do the same. That's my.
Can you tell us about your mission now? Because time is collapsing so quickly, I cannot believe, but I'm so fascinated by your story. Can you tell us how now you're teaching others to go through a similar process and overcome their own challenges?
Yes, I can. So I started out as a motivational speaker, and I have an amazing book and a talk called Walking Tall. And in that book, the three main, of the speech, the three main teachings that I give are, well, I'm not going to talk about the content. You asked me, how am I doing it? So I'm going to answer that question. Then if you want to know more about content, I can. So anyway,
get Peggy's books. Everything is there, folks.
Yeah.
So
you can go to my website, PeggySpeaks.com.
Everything will be there, yes, in the website, and in this email, highlighting Peggy, you will find all of the information, the contact information, and all of the links to the offers, and so much more. Go there, please, folks.
Thank you. And just a brief comment about my books. I made the story of the diamond experience into a children's book. It's a Cadillac book. It's hardback. It's beautifully illustrated. It's about that big. And it talks about a girl with a square head who discovers a diamond in her heart. And she continues to see the diamond in her heart. And over time,
true story.
This is a book.
It's yours, true story.
It's my story. Yeah. And then she looks in the water, and they say, if you keep seeing yourself in this way, you'll receive 3 gifts. And the gifts that she received are courage, confidence, and compassion.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful story for any person of any age who wants a simple shot of hope and inspiration that their true nature is available to them, and their true nature will save the day.
That's a beautiful story. So it's not for children, it's for everyone, right?
It's for everybody. It says for ages like 3 and up. So anyway, going back to your question. So when I was in the Diamond Approach School, I found out that I had a sort of natural talent, gift at understanding how the psychology works. And so I became a psychotherapist, and I had a psychotherapy practice, and I was helping people on a one-to-one basis at that time. And then I went with my friend Marcy Shimoff. I don't know if you know who she is, but she is the author of Chicken Soup for the Women's Soul. She started that whole series. She did many of the women's books in that series. And then she wrote a book called Happy for No Reason, Love for No Reason.
Yeah.
And she was in The Secret. So she's pretty prominent in that space. And she went to the Maharishi College with me. And I told her I was giving a workshop to promote my psychotherapy practice. And she paused and she said, Peggy, your dharma is to be a speaker. Why don't you come with me next week to the national, it just so happened, next week was the National Speakers National Convention.
Wow.
She didn't have a roommate. She invited me to come and stay with her. And we went and shared that experience. And I came home, I wrote my first brochure. And about 2 weeks later, I started giving speeches for free. I joined Toastmasters. I joined the National Speakers Association. So anyone who wants to be a speaker out there, and I'm sure there's plenty of you, I would recommend those two things. Join Toastmasters and join your local National Speakers Association. You can find that those links online. The Toastmasters, of course, is local. And then they have, most large cities have NSA, National Speakers Association meetings. And with those two things in place, I built my speaking career because in NSA, I had a lot of mentors and people that I could ask questions to, people that supported me. And in Toastmasters, I learned how to speak properly and not say and and after every time I become aware of those things. Anyway, I slip up sometimes. So then as I was doing the speaking, I started speaking in schools and I started doing anti-bullying programs for kids. And that was really, and I taught them about the diamond and to go in their heart and see the diamond. So that was really an awesome thing to teach children. I know if I had someone to come to my school and say, you're a diamond, all you have to do is close your eyes and see it inside and believe it, that it would have changed my life. And also hearing my story, which is very different. Very different than I give a different story for the kids. It's more about the school bus coming by and kids yelling midget at me and how I handled the situation. Anyway, so I went from there. I started speaking in colleges and corporations. And now since COVID, I've been doing mostly training. And because everything's online, I'm doing training on resiliency, building empathy, stress management.
So needed.
Yeah.
I mean, friends, by just looking into Peggy's eyes, you can see so much compassion in the look in her eyes. There's so much love there.
Thank you.
She's an angel of love and compassion. And I'm going to choke myself. So I think it's a good time, Peggy, to tell us about your super special offers. Can you tell us what you're bringing for us today?
Sure. So I would like to let you know that one of the things that has been very prominent for me in my awakening through the whole thing with TM and with the Diamond Heart and with the trauma therapy, all the things I've done, the psychotherapy, is the reduction of stress. So we have difficult experiences in our life. And when we don't have the internal resources to process those emotions, especially as children, because we're not very resourced. And if there's arguing going on, if there's abuse, if there's scary things happening, if they're could be external, like you're in a war zone or you're in a commune, or all kinds of stuff happens, right?
Yes,
so
indeed.
When we don't have the inner strength to process the energy from the difficulty that we have in those experiences, the fear and the contraction and the all that, the anger, the frustration that get buried inside of us until we can release that energy inside of us, it blocks us from our true nature. So de-stressing is a seriously important thing that we all need to deal with, especially since the fact that our lives are so stressful and the culture has endeared itself to being stressed out, and Absolutely. It propagates and it promotes being a stressful life. And things have gotten, with more and more people and more media, things have become more and more complicated, etc. Our time, our self-care time is challenged. you know, one way to say it is
Absolutely.
severely challenged, right? So one of the things that I got a lot out, that I transformed from a lot, was a technique called tapping. And I went
Yes.
to, I saw it. A friend of mine was a faster EFT, not an EFT tapper. This is a new and improved version called faster EFT, which is the type that I do. And bottom line is I made it into a phone app so that people could have an in their pocket version of the a technique, that a tutorial. It's my app is a tutorial that takes you step by step through the tapping process. And I have a free version, and I have a membership version, which offers more features that help you reduce stress even more.
And
so,
we will include, of course, the link to that app in this email. Please look out for that. Please check your spam, friends. Be sure that you're receiving all of these juicy, juicy tools, please. Thank you. So Peggy, show us how this technique works, Peggy.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to take
lovely.
you through. I'm going to take you through the tutorial, and Sandra, I'm going to, you know, talk to you, and then everybody who's listening in can join in. I'll make it generic. So this is a little bit of what you'll find in the app. And the idea here is that the brain is, you know, everybody know a new science that's been discovered and developed over the last 10 years is called neuroplasticity. And what it means is that the brain can change. So even though something may have happened, or even though you may have certain genetics, that those things are changeable due to the fact that our brain is malleable. And when we can access the unconscious, this is a very important thing about tapping. There's a lot of work that we do with affirmations and sometimes even therapy will only stay on the level of the conscious mind, but to really get in there to turn the key on transformation, we need to access the unconscious mind. And that's what tapping does. So we're going to be working with the level of unconscious mind. The type of tapping that I do, it was called faster EFT. It's now called Eutaptics. And it is a combination of EFT, or emotional freedom technique tapping, neuro-linguistic program, and hypnotherapy and somatic experience. So my teacher, Robert Smith, took all of those things and combined them into this technique. I don't take credit for it. I just take credit for the fact that now it's in a phone app and you can have it to do anytime.
So easy to reach for everyone.
Pardon me?
Absolutely. So easy to access now.
Yes. Yeah, it's accessible.
So much for that.
Yeah, and little people like things that are accessible. So here we go. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to start by just sitting comfortably and relaxing, let's close our eyes and take a deep breath in and out. And again, in and out, and just let your whole body relax and sense your arms, sense your legs. Sense your butt on the chair and sense your breath. So you take another deep breath in and let it all go. And we're going to start with two memories. One memory is going to be a happy memory, and one memory is going to be a stressful or difficult memory. So let's start with the happy memory. I'd like you to recall a happiest moment in your life. Could be from childhood, could be your wedding day, the birth of your child. It could be something that happened this morning. Just pick something. And when you have that memory, I want you to see yourself in that situation. So make a picture of it in your mind. See yourself there, enjoying that experience. And let's give that happy memory a title. So it could be the birth of my first son, my wedding day, my trip to Bali. Let's give it a title. And then we're going to switch over, and then I'd like you to just take a deep breath. Let it go. And then I want you to just check in and let a difficult memory that you have from your past come up into your awareness. Again, it can be from infancy, early childhood, teenage. There should be a plethora of them from that time, young adulthood into more current times, any challenge, a divorce, an argument, your boss said something to you, a car accident, anything, that difficult memory. And I want you to see that memory, and I want you to give that memory a title as well. So I'll just give you a moment to do that. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna just continue to keep your eyes, oh no, open your eyes for a second, and I'm gonna show you the tapping is, we use the peace sign to these two fingers, and we're gonna tap in 4 places, 3 on the face. So one is above the eye, so it's close to the bridge of the nose and right on the eyebrow, tapping, just gently touching. And then on the side of the eye, where there's the bone, where the slit of the eye is, we're gonna tap right there. And then under the eye, on the bone that's under the eye. Correct. Yeah, and we're using these 2 fingers. And then we're gonna tap on the collarbone. Find the collarbone there, tapping. And then I'm gonna say, take a deep breath in, let it go. Grab your wrist. You can take your hand, you're gonna wrap it around your wrist. Can you hold your hand up so they can see you? Yeah, there we go. And I'm gonna ask you to take a deep breath in, blow it out, and say peace. So, okay, so that'll be, and I'll take you, we'll go through that a few times, and you just follow along the instructions, okay? So let's close our eyes again. Relaxing, sensing our body, taking a deep breath, just relaxing, opening your consciousness, opening your heart, becoming present to this moment. Good, and now I want you to bring up the difficult memory. And I want you to see yourself in that memory. And notice the stress of that memory. And I'm going to ask you to rate the level of the stress of that particular memory on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. So just recognize, you could say it to yourself, I'm rating this memory as, the stress in this memory is now at a, fill in the blank, an 8, a 6, whatever it is. Okay, good. So now that you have your difficult memory, you've rated it, I want you to just see yourself again in the difficult memory and get your fingers ready. We're going to start to tap. And I want you to feel the fingers tapping against your forehead as we tap. And I'd like you to repeat after me what I say. You can say it out loud, Sandra. Everybody else can either say it to themselves or say it out loud. So now we're going to tap, and what we're going to say is, I release and let go all feelings.
Let go.
All feelings of sadness, frustration, and hurt.
Frustration and hurt.
Okay, good. Can you wait till I pause, okay? Sandra, you wait till I pause. So we did that one. So I release and let go.
I release and let go.
All feelings of hopelessness and helplessness.
All feelings of hopelessness and helplessness.
Tapping on the side of the eye. I release all feelings of anger, frustration, and hatred.
I release all fears of frustration, all feelings of fear, frustration,
anger. Yeah, under the eye. I release all that now.
I release all that now.
On your collarbone tapping, it's safe to let it all go.
It's safe to let it all go.
Letting it all go now.
And it's safe to let it go all now.
I'm letting it go.
I'm letting it go.
Watch me now. Watch me now.
Watch me now.
Good. Take a deep breath in, grab your wrist, blow it all away, and say peace. Say peace.
Peace.
Good. Right. We're gonna do it again. So above your eyes, let's tapping. You can do the same side or the other side. It's up to you.
Okay. We're gonna do the same one.
Repeat after me. I release and let go.
I release and let go.
All feelings of, I release all feelings of being unsafe.
I release all feelings of feeling unsafe.
Tapping on the side of your eye. I release any guilt or shame I have about this experience.
I release all feelings of fear or shame that I feel about this experience.
I'm releasing all guilt about this experience.
I am releasing all guilt about this experience.
Underneath your eye. I'm releasing all my pent-up frustration and hurt.
I release all my pent-up frustration and...
Good. It's safe to let it go.
It's safe to let it go.
Tapping on your collarbone. I can let all of this go now.
I can let all of this go now.
This experience was in the past.
This experience was in the past.
It's safe now.
It's safe now.
And I can let it all go.
And I can let it all go.
Watch me now.
Watch me now.
Good. Take a deep breath, grab your wrist, blow it all away, and say peace.
Peace.
Good. Okay, now and take a deep breath and come back to your happy memory. You remember the title of it. You can see the picture of it. Just when you take a deep breath, see yourself in that happy memory and just let yourself feel what you felt in that moment. See the smiling faces, whatever environment you're in, the sun shining or the light coming through the windows or the light doing what it is. See what you see, feel what you felt, and let your whole body take in the joy of that moment. And breathe it in, let it go. Good. See it and feel it. Good. So now I want you to bring back your difficult memory, the same one that you started with. And I want you to see yourself in that difficult memory now. And I want you to rate it. How stressful is that memory? The same memory, how difficult is it now? And just give it a rating, again, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Okay, when you're done, you can open your eyes.
Wow. That's a big shift of energies. Amazing. This is awesome.
Isn't it?
And so easy and fun. It's like playing a game.
Right.
It's amazing how easy, and it's so, I don't know, playful at the same time, right? When we are dealing with very deep and profound moments in our lives, and yet it comes out so easily.
Yes,
Amazing.
exactly. So in the app, let me just explain that this is sort of a generic, all-inclusive. I didn't go into any specific issues, but in the paid version, which starts at $5 a month, I'll explain that more in a little bit. That you can get what I call customized intention dialogues. So you can choose an intention like decreasing stress and anxiety, or better sleep, or beat an addiction, or lose weight, or I have 12 of them, and it will take you on a 15-minute tapping session that will address that specific issue. So let's say you had, let's say you want to have stress and thing. I talk about letting go of the things that make worry, letting go of the things that make you speed up, letting go of the daily habits that you have that run your adrenaline, right? So I speak specifically to those issues. So
Wonderful.
Yeah, so tell us what was your rating? How much did you come down?
Well, Okay, I'll share my own experience. It was not nice at all. It was the passing of my mom when I was a teenager. And so that was a terrible, hinge in my life. So it was, to me, was tops, was 10. I mean, and then it went down to 5 in just a few minutes. So, I mean, it's
That is so amazing. Oh my God. That's so good. That's so good. So, and then another thing is that's the basic thing of tapping is have the happy memory, sandwich it in between your difficult memory, and tap and let yourself know that it's okay to let it go. And you can all do self-tapping. You can do self-tapping with the app for free. You can do self-tapping anytime, anywhere. So know that you have that anytime you run into a situation with a boss or a friend or a pet or some kind of physical like you bang into something, that you can just take a moment and do the tapping and your stress levels will come way down. And when you're stressing down,
useful for anything, right? I mean, it's
what
applicable to any situation, right?
Yeah,
basically,
exactly. It's physical, emotional, whatever it is, spiritual, even like, when you want to get angry, you want to get angry at God, you can tap on that.
It's nice at the end, the release with the word peace. It's so fulfilling. It gives that peace that our heart is longing for. And this is a beautiful, conclusion of that exercise. Is a beautiful state. Peggy, do you have 2 more? I think you have a couple more to share with us.
So the other offers that I have another free gift for you, which is one of my favorite things. And I wish I had one handy right at the moment. Hold on one second. Let me see if I have one. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's I have something I call them inspiration collaboration cards. And I have a prompt at the beginning. And for example, one of them says, to increase joy in my life, I will. And then there's a list of 10 things with a line. And then I start the affirmation. To increase joy in my life, I will. And the first one says celebrate. And then there's a blank line. So I'm going to say celebrate, and you're going to fill in the rest of the thing. To increase more joy in my life, I will pay attention to blank. And then you're going to write in what you pay attention to. So there are 8 of them, and they go from increasing joy, decreasing stress, having a better relationship with myself, better relationship with others, opening my heart, being the master of my life, etc. So that is a free gift that you in the link in the email. You can go and you can download those, and you can take them, print them, cut them out. And I like to put them up on my bulletin board on my fridge to remind me. And of course, it's a promotion to Tap for Joy. So you could even give one to a friend if you wanted to, tell them about the app. So there's some QR codes on there that can help facilitate that process. And then
beautiful.
Yeah, my other, let's see, I have a money offer. I have 2 money offers. So the first one, those are the 2 free offers, tapping and the inspiration cards. And then the money offer. A great
reduced price, by the way, friends. Yes, very accessible too. Yeah. Tell us about that.
The money offer is going to be that you can get a lifetime membership to Tap for Joy. Okay, so Tap for Joy, the monetization works like this. You get $5 a month, $50 for a year, or $150 for a lifetime. So the $97 offer is a lifetime membership, which is $150 normally, and you guys get it for $97. So that's the first one.
Generous.
You'll go inside the app. It'll be apparent on what to do there. You'll click around, you'll find a thing that says become a member now, and let's see, we'll set it up so that when you go to the link, you'll get a code that you can put in the promotion code, you'll get the lifetime membership. Okay.
Perfect.
So that'll be for you guys. And then I have another offer, is my course on resiliency. And resiliency is something that we really need nowadays because there's so many challenges.
Totally.
And this course will help you build up from the inside out. It'll help you connect with your inner strength and your inner power. It'll help keep your mind positive. It'll help you reframe your challenges as gifts, which is something that we never talked about really. But the whole idea is that when challenges happen, I'm going to fill this in because I didn't really answer the question earlier.
Go ahead.
We often think that something bad is happening to us, that God's punishing us. It depends, when things really, really bad happen, people always say, why is God punishing me? And so one of the techniques that I found is very, very helpful is to flip it around and say, how is this happening for me? How is God helping me to do my destiny? How is God helping me fulfill my potential? What in this experience is helping me become a bigger, better person?
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah.
So that's one of the main points. So that's in the resiliency course. There's a bunch of stuff. There's a workbook. There's a 6-week class. I do some stress management in there also, some other techniques, some breathing techniques. And then if you want to do the VIP version of that, which is $497, I offer 2 one-on-one tapping or coaching sessions, therapy. I do coaching, tapping, and therapy. So we could do whatever your needs are, an hour-and-a-half session, 2 of them. So that's the additional money for the VIP version of the resiliency course.
Beautiful.
That is my offer. Are there any questions about that?
I think it's very clear. All of the information will be in the emails, as we said before. So please be on the lookout for all of that information. And I'm so, so happy to have you telling us all of these amazing things and what is possible for us, not to despair, not to fall into, oh my God, what am I going to do with my life? Because sometimes when we are approaching those worst moments in our lives is when something great is going to happen just a minute after that. So yes, it's the dark before, or the storm, right? The quiet before the storm, or in other words, in a more positive way, it would be just waiting for dawn. The sunshine is about to be there and our lives are about to be turned over. So please, friends, we can do this. I know we got this right. I know we can do this. We're ascending the whole planet, the collective, individually. We're all on the same boat. Of course, it is a matter of free choice. So we are here to consciously say yes or no to the process. But if you're here, I'm sure, we are sure with Peggy that you're here because you are on the process on a conscious level. So please use all of these amazing tools that Peggy is bringing forth to us for you and for all of us. And I'm sure that you will be delighted to try them all out. And I'm so sorry we have to come to a close to this amazing conversation. I don't know if there's any last thoughts, Peggy, that you would like to include now to wrap up this amazing interview.
Yes, I do have one or two things. One thing that I didn't mention that I want to say is that when we work with our stress levels and when we work with those difficult experiences that we have inside, whether it's trauma, psychotherapy, tapping, homeopathy, whatever it is that you're doing to help support yourself. One of the things that I found is that clarity is one of the main gifts that comes. And I know this is very confusing and uncertain times. And clarity is a very important tool that we all have during this time. And also just in the ascension process, that we are not on the mainstream path and we have to navigate for ourselves. And so it takes a lot of inner certainty, which translates as clarity. And I would really just to highlight that if you're needing more clarity, to work with your difficult memories and to process them in ways that you find helpful so that you can have the clarity unfold within you. I did no preparations for today's talk. I wrote up some questions that I gave them to her, but everything has arisen from my own clarity. And listening and witnessing it myself, I thought it was awesome. So,
Absolutely.
This is the process of having access to inner brilliancy. It's a quality of your nature. And I have, that's why I'm a speaker. I've always had some level of connection to it. But as I continue my healing process and I continue my awakening and ascension process, that my clarity gets better and better. And the last thing that I want to say and leave you with is that this attending to your awakening is the most important thing for you to do. They're raising children, making money, having a legacy, all that's great. But the thing that is really going to stay, your children are going to leave, you're going to get old, that people will forget you sooner or later. But the most important thing is that you experience each moment to the fullest, that you feel the wonderment of life, that you feel the love that's available in life, that you feel connected, and that you work through the challenges that come to you, because it only opens up, it's fertilizer for your growth. It only opens up for more and more of the good stuff. So I would say attending to your ascension is the most important thing that you can do. So do your best to build a life that supports that you have daily practices, that you have weekly practices, that you hang out with people who support this and that are in a similar conversation. All those are extremely helpful. And I wish you all a grand journey in the ups and downs of this life, and that you celebrate it all. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I totally subscribe to these thoughts of yours, Peggy. Totally. Thank you so much. 100% on board. Thank you, everyone, for your presence here. And please share your thoughts and your greatest takeaways. We're so curious to know how these conversations are helping you. You know where? Just by hitting reply to this email or by joining my private Facebook group, Wondrous Ascension. So I hope that you're all well and using these tools. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next episode. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you, Sandra. Wonderful time.
Thank you. Likewise here.